afternoon and a warm welcome back to the channel. You'll be aware that I recently purchased the brand new 2022 K1600GT SE, and I was lucky enough to have Nippy Norman's contact me, Nippy Norman being the largest distributor of BMW aftermarket accessories in the United Kingdom, asking me to fit some parts from their stock onto my K1600 GT. So it's a series of videos that I'm doing here, about 5 or 6, and I'll put all those together in a playlist so that you can reference them and look at them individually depending on which part you're maybe fitting yourself, or if you've got an interest in all of them, just go and check them all out. I'll also put a link to the product from the Nippy Norman website down below in the description. The particular product we're looking at in this video is the Wunderlich Oil Cooler Guard. Wunderlich are a German company and Nippy Norman are the sole UK distributors of their products. So you'll be aware that the bike itself has obviously a liquid coolant radiator at the front, which is large, sits low down on the bike at the front behind the wheel, and actually we'll be fitting a fender extender to try and stop any water, crud, mud and such like gathering in that radiator on one of the other videos. But this one is for the oil cooler, and the oil cooler is above the main water radiator and is actually quite susceptible to damage because it has no guard. So this guard will hopefully stop any damage that may occur to that oil cooler. But I think also the hole that is below the headlight that is in the fairing to go to the oil cooler is quite ugly in itself, so hopefully this will finish that off as well. Let's take a quick look in the box and then we'll go and fit it on the bike. So just opening the box and move it to one side. First and foremost we get the usual instruction manuals. So the first one that I always show people is this one, which is more by way of a liability exception, so that if you don't know how to fit this, you should get a professional to do so, but hopefully the video will help you to fit it correctly. There's a schematic diagram of what comes with the oil cooler in a couple of languages, and then a colour pictorial instruction as to how to fit the cooler to the bike. I don't think it's a particularly difficult installation, but we'll see when we actually get out to the bike. But we get those manuals. We then get a couple of strips, what looks like a reflective strip here. Well, interesting, we'll see what that one is. And we also get a strip of padding, which I suspect will go behind the brackets to actually stop any vibration ringing from the guard itself. There's a sachet of paste which we'll use on the screws, which will stop the screws from becoming stuck so that we can always remove the screws at a later date. And then we've got a hardware pack. Now the hardware pack is not particularly exciting, consists of a couple of plastic washers and 4 screws. And there they are. And also we have a couple of brackets which will go onto the side of the oil cooler guard itself to hold it to the fairing. So the star of the show is the oil cooler guard. This is the outside face of it, Wunderlich branded. It's a piece of pressed steel, nicely finished, no sharp edges, and powder coated, so very much resistant to corrosion and rust. And as you can see, it's got a grill here, and the grill is actually angled so that even if something hits it of a right size, it's really got to hit it smack in the middle of a hole to be able to go through, because if it hits on an edge, the edges are radiused, so it would deflect it off anyway. So that's the oil cooler guard. Let's go out to the motorcycle and fit it. So if we take a look here, we can see hopefully the oil cooler in the back of the cavity here, and obviously it's quite an ugly cavity, and certainly the oil cooler would be exposed if a stone rattled its way into there. So it's going to be a pretty simple fit, I think. We've got to remove this screw up here and the same screw here on the other side, and once we've removed those, we'll find that some panels will come out of there, and there's a screw behind that we're then going to undo to actually mount the oil cooler itself. So we'll come back to you once we've removed this screw and the panel, and we'll show you what we've got. Okay, so this is the small cover that we've removed, and a Torx 25, standard Torx 25 type BMW fastener. And now we're going to take this fastener out at the back here. I've not removed the other side yet. I will remove the cover on the other side, but basically the screws are in exactly the same position. So again, we'll remove this and then we'll show you how the brackets go on. So we've now removed this screw from up here, and it's again a standard Torx 25. In fact, all of the 4 screws we've removed from the covers and from the back here are all identical, and therefore you've no chance of mixing them up. So hopefully you can see now we've got the bracket fitted to both sides. So if we look at this one in here, you can see the screw is in here. This is the screw supplied with the kit, 25, Torx 25, a bit longer than the original. And the bracket comes down towards the oil cooler, downwards and then forwards, and that leaves us with an angled mount here to actually mount the grill to. The same on this side. You can actually see the end of it here, and the reason being I've actually got this fairing off because I'm going to be fitting my BMW K3 camera shortly, so I already had this side off, but that gives you an opportunity to see this side of the bracket just here. Now before we fit the grill, we're going to fit these trims. So I got the wrong one there. So we're going to be fitting these trims back over the top like that, because you won't be able to do it after you've fitted the grill. So the trims are now back on both sides, over here and this one here, making a nice tidy finish. You can just now see the bracket there. And then we're going to, with the short Torx 25 screw supplied with the kit and the nylon washer, like so, we're just going to now fit the grill, and I'm going to Loctite those to make sure that they don't come undone. And I've also, hopefully you'll be able to see this if I just place it into place, I've also used a little bit of the sticky back foam here, which I've cut lengthways, and I've placed that underneath it here. There's plenty of clearance at the top and plenty of clearance here, and they'll be tightened anyway at the side. But I just want to stop that, A, from marking this plastic plate, but B, from getting any resonance as the bike's ridden. So we'll get these screws in, one here and one here with Loctite, and you'll see the finished article in a couple of minutes. So there we have it, the fitting of the Wunderlich Oil Cooler Guard to the K1600. You can see the small screw in the washer here, which you wouldn't normally be able to fully see. If you look at this side, it's actually hidden behind the fairing, but there is plenty of give in that fairing to be able to screw it up. So I've only removed this one for my own convenience, but it does help you to see that. So if you've liked this video, perhaps give it a thumbs up, and any comments down below. If you feel like subscribing to the channel, feel free. Got a few more of these fitting videos on the K1600 to go, another I think 3 or 4 at least, and there's already one for the side stand in larger if you want to check that out. We'll see you next time. Stay safe. Bye bye.